which means tax season is right around the corner. Most people cringe when they think about tax season, but if you're prepared with the correct guidance, there is no reason to fear. With me to break down what people need to know while preparing to file their taxes as individuals by April 15th, 2020 is Spar and Bernstein's tax attorney, Carmela Walrond. Welcome, Carmela. Thanks for coming on. You are making tax sexy. And when I say making tax sexy, you have taken clients who owe $25,000 and turned their tax debt into $450. That's sexy. People who owed a business tax of over $100,000, you turned it into $15,000. That's making tax sexy. And I have never in my entire career ever heard anybody ever make tax sexy, but when you save all these people money, that is making tax sexy. I just learned that there's a new updated W-4, and it has now just come out for January 1st. What does this all mean for taxpayers?
Sure. Under the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, there's a new W-4 form. It's changed, which it goes by your filing status.
What do you mean goes by your filing status?
Single, married, filing jointly, head of household.
So your filing status will be indicated on your W-4 form.
Correct.
Which really is very important for people going through an immigration process, because if you are working and you get married during the year and you do not notify your employer, you are going to get a W-4 indicating you are single when in fact you are married, which will then perhaps cause a huge problem at your interview for your green card when you're trying to prove you're in a bona fide marriage. You never even told your employer you got married. You're still getting W-4s as a single. So it is vitally important now that this new information, which is coming on your W-4s, if you do get married and you want to be able to prove a bona fide marriage, one of the ways is joint tax return. You better indicate you're married to your employer so your W-4 indicates that as well.
Correct.
Now, to reiterate, those who are not W-4 employees but are self-employed, they also have to pay taxes, and they have to pay taxes whether they're documented or not. What's up with that?
It still remains the same, but if you make more than $300 for the year, you still have
$300?
Yes, for the whole year, you have to file a tax return.
So I've heard people with questions on this show who said, my spouse made $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, they're not required to file a tax return. That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
$300.
Correct.
Anybody who earned more than $300 in 2019 has to file a tax return by April 15th, 2020.
Yes.
These telephone calls where I didn't have to file a tax return because I only earned $7,000, not true. You heard it right from the source.
Correct.
So what do people do if they didn't get a W-4, they didn't get taxes withheld, and what do people do if they're out of status working? What do you do in these situations?
In these situations, I can also apply for an ITIN for that person and also for their family as well, so they also could save money in taxes.
So if you are undocumented and you don't have a social, you're going to apply for a TIN number, but they still don't have a W-4. How do they declare their income? What do you do?
I could report as cash income on their tax return, and you don't have to identify who gave you the cash on the tax return.
How do you prove what they earned?
Under the tax code, you don't have to have, obviously I do recommend if you have a bank account, if you don't receive cash, I could just report that on the taxes. And then also by hiring someone like me, I could deduct certain business expenses that are allowed under the tax code.
Like, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
All right, I'm an undocumented person, or even I'm a U.S. citizen. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You're working under the table, off the books.
Yes.
You do deliveries. What are you writing off?
Oh, lots of things. For example, your cell phone. You get calls from your clients to make deliveries. If you have your own car, you have to pay for gas, tolls, parking. These are expenses you could deduct on your tax return.
Okay, let's take another job.
Sure.
You take care of an elderly person at home. What are you writing off? The daughter of the elderly person comes and gives you cash every week.
Sure.
What are you writing off?
Lots of things. Subway travel, bus, taxi, Uber, cell phone, uniform, shoes. That's why coming to someone like me, I would know what business expenses I could deduct on the tax return.
Now, what if somebody came from another country and they have a foreign bank account? How does that all figure into all this?
Okay, so if you have a foreign bank account in another country, if you have $10,000 or more, you have to report that to the government.
Even if none of the money you earned in the United States went into that bank account?
No, it's just if you have a foreign bank account, that has to be reported.
There's a foreign bank account with more than $10,000. You are breaking the law if you file a tax return and you do not declare that on your tax return.
Yes.
Whew. It's a lot to know. Now, let's get to the sexy part, Carmela.
Okay, sure.
I like the sexy part.
I know you do.
Okay, tell us about a client who you save lots of money on their tax liability by following your advice, by filing their individual tax return.
Actually, I saw this particular client 2 days ago. He worked in car detailing, meaning that he washed cars. I filed his taxes for several years, and he owed about $10,000 in taxes. And I filed offer and compromise settlement, and he got a settlement for $100.
Wait. I just want to make sure I got this, because this just blows my mind.
Yes.
Right? Guy owes $10,000.
Yes.
He's a car detailer. Basically
Yes.
cleans cars for a
Yes.
living. And how many years has he not filed a tax return?
Oh, almost 4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
So you file 4 years back taxes.
Yes.
He doesn't earn a lot, but he still owes over those 4 years about 10 grand in
Yes.
taxes.
Yes.
What a gift.
Yes.
What a gift you give somebody that to owe 10,000 choked for
Yes.
cash and then turn that into 100. That's what I mean, making tax sexy.
And the reason why I remember this client, because by getting this settlement, he was able to get married, and then I see him every quarter because he now pays his estimated tax payments every quarter, and I see him every tax year to file his taxes.
And he's the happiest
He's the
dude in the
happiest
world.
man, yes.
And he was not getting married, right? Because I'm sure his wife said, I'm not marrying no dude who owes his tax debt. I don't want to
Right.
marry a deadbeat, but he's
Yes.
no longer a deadbeat,
He's no
right?
more a deadbeat,
Right.
and he's followed my advice, and he actually came in 2 days ago to pay his fourth quarter estimated tax payments, and I'm going to see him this tax season.
That's an amazing job. Congratulations. Obviously, prior successful results don't guarantee a similar result, but Carmela, you are making tax sexy. When I hear these stories about all these savings that you're giving people, whether it's individuals or on a business, whether you're working legally, you're a U.S. citizen, whether you need a social security number, whether you need an ITIN number, Carmela is making your tax return look very sexy. Thank you very much, Carmela. Great job as always, and I appreciate you coming on.
All right, thank you, Brad.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.